It's time now for the High School Sports Show with Rich Henkels and Joe Krause on News Talk 990 WNTP Philadelphia. Presented by the Philadelphia Building Trades, powered by student athletes from high schools around the Delaware Valley. The High School Sports Show. Talk, listen, and learn from the region's most influential experts, administrators, and school professionals.
You know what time it is.
It's time now for the High School Sports Show. Sports. It starts right now.
And we say hello to the Delaware Valley. And we come to you from the Green Turtle. It's a very, very special edition of the High School Sports Show. It's the 2018 Live Fearless Scholarship Show as we gather for our final show of the season. And we come to you from the Green Turtle, and we begin by letting all of our athletes, all of the families who are in attendance, and all of our listening audience know we are presented proudly by Independence Blue Cross. We are powered by the Philadelphia Building Trades. We are fueled by Dunkin' Donuts. And tonight, of course, Rich, we are driven by the Green Turtle, where a great crowd has assembled for the very, very first time. We get to honor all of the individual student athletes who you selected over the course of the year, and one winner tonight gets the scholarship.
Yeah, it's a wonderful experience for us to be able to do this. And we have to thank our sponsors, the Building Trades, of course, Dunkin' Donuts, always been very, very helpful. Our hosts here, the Green Turtle, and Independence Blue Cross, who have contributed to what is going to be a $1,000 scholarship to one lucky Live Fearless Student Athlete of the Week from this year. A lot of kids to choose from. We are very lucky. We have 19, I think, tonight so far checked in. So this is going to be some fun.
It'll be a great show, so stay with us over the course of the next 2 hours. One programming reminder, a special thanks to News Talk 990, our host for the high school season, or for the high school show all season long, home of the Penn State Nittany Lions, home of Widener Pride football, and of course home to the High School Sports Show.
All right, so tonight's program is a little bit different. We are going to mix a little bit of life philosophy with school philosophy and business philosophy, and we'll get to tonight's topic in just a moment. But Joe, let's touch on the schools. We have a long list, and we are very lucky. So many kids from so many schools were our Live Fearless Student Athletes of the Week. Some sports and some other events have kept some of the kids being able to make it tonight. But, Joe, go ahead and give them the list of the schools that are here tonight.
Let me give a quick rundown of all of the schools that are being represented here tonight. I'll leave the honor to you to introduce the students as they join us on the program. 15 different high schools being represented on the final show here tonight. Springside, Chestnut Hill, Council Rock North, the Haverford School, Souderton, Springford High School, the Arts Academy at Benjamin Rush, Archbishop Wood, Holy Ghost Prep, William Tennant, LaSalle College High School, North Penn High School, St. Joseph's Prep, Cristo Rey, Council Rock South, and Mount St. Joseph Academy in the house as well. So 15 great schools being represented by some fantastic student athletes.
Absolutely. And before we go into tonight's discussion, let's go to James Jackson. James, we have a busy night on social media, and go ahead and let's tip the scales your way, sir.
That's right. Busy it is, but it's great to be back here at the Green Turtle for what you mentioned, Rich. The first time we get to honor all of our Live Fearless student athletes of this season of the High School Sports Show. And also, for the very first time, we're going to be broadcasting the entire show on Facebook Live. We've mentioned a lot of this to you. You might have seen the cameras, but the whole show will be on Facebook Live tonight, but that doesn't mean we can forget about Twitter. We're on Facebook, the High School Sports Show, and we're on Twitter at HS Sports Philly. I'll still be getting good tweets, good pictures of all the student athletes that come up to the table this evening to discuss with Rich and Joe, and it should be such a great show.
All right, good stuff. That's James Jackson. He'll be working throughout the next 2 hours as we come to you again from the Green Turtle. And, Rich, I want to give you the opportunity, if you will, to outline not the criteria, but just an explanation of what the students are going to talk about and what they're going to reflect on as they get into the conversations with you over the next 2 hours.
So tonight's show is a little bit different. It's not a hard topic. We're going to mix philosophy and life with what is going to make these kids move forward as life goes on. And I've given them all, I sent them all an email with a link to something called the Desiderata. And the Desiderata is a poem, and it was written many years ago. But here's the point of the Desiderata. It is what I refer to as my personal roadmap to life. I had a doctor of mine back in the 1980s introduced me to this poem, and it has become my roadmap to life. And the reason why is because it teaches you lessons and gives you an opportunity to consider so many different aspects of your life if you commit yourself to those aspects of your life. I consider it a guide to being a positive contributor to society, controlling my own ego, balancing emotion and intellect when I make decisions, absorbing and learning from experience, living with integrity, so important, and last but not least, being happy. So we have 3 judges tonight that are going to judge the young men and women's approach to this poem. They were all asked to look at this poem, pluck out 2 ideas, maybe 3 from this poem that means something, and generate a thought process from them from which they will move forward in their lives to try to maximize their contributions to society and that kind of thing.
And just so everybody in the room has an understanding, just so everybody has a good feel for how it works, we're not going to identify any of the judges. So the judges will be here scattered throughout the crowd. They have individual scorecards, if I'm correct on that.
Yep.
And then as the process concludes, or as we get to the end of the process, we'll have one winner selected at the very end of the broadcast.
So let's go really quickly. Let's go through the criteria, Joe.
4 categories that we're going to talk about here on the High School Sports Show, and we're going to do it in 60 seconds, Rich, because I want to get out of this first break. Opening segment that we're going to talk about is communication skills, the command of the language, the understanding of the topic, and how they're able to communicate with you on the set. We'll do that as one category that all of the student athletes will be judged on.
Yep. The second skill set is conversation skills, ability to listen, react, demonstrate a keen awareness of conversation decorum, i.e. being concise, polite, and considerate.
And the third of 4, number 3, is inspiration, the ability to demonstrate optimism, the ability to be able to convey enthusiasm, the ability to be able to inspire everybody in the room. That's going to be part of it as well.
And the last category you'll all be judged on is influence, the ability to get people to listen, follow, and or engage with you as you address a group. So I'm going to read the Desiderata so that everybody knows what we're talking about. This is about a 2-minute read, so be patient, but you'll understand why it's worth reading. Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence. As far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. Avoid loud and aggressive persons. They are vexations to the spirit. If you compare yourself with others, you may become vain or bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. Enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. Keep interested in your own career, however humble. It is a real possession in the changing fortunes of time. Exercise caution in your business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. But let this not blind you to what virtue there is. Many persons strive for high ideals, and everywhere life is full of heroism. Be yourself, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass. Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth. Nurture strength of spirit to shield you in sudden misfortune, but do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should. Therefore, be at peace with God. Whatever you conceive him to be, and whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful, strive to be happy.
The table is set for the show. All of the student athletes participating tonight are Live Fearless Student Athletes of the Week who have been selected as part of our lead up to the show tonight. So all students that are going to be on the program tonight have already received an accolade for being that. Now we get an opportunity, Rich, for the very, very first time as we go to break to present the first ever high school sports show scholarship, and we're glad to do it tonight.
Can't wait for it. And now you can see why that is the guideline of my life. Many, many CEOs have that very same poem in a frame on their walls. We'll be back in just a few minutes, right, Joe?
All good stuff. We'll return to News Talk 990 as we roll on with the high school sports show. Back in a moment. And we're back here on the High School Sports Show. We say hello to the Delaware Valley, and we thank everybody for tuning in. It's our special Live Fearless High School Sports Show Scholarship Show as we come to you from the Green Turtle, and we come to you on News Talk 990 and also streaming the entire 2 hours on Facebook Live so we can capture all of the memories of the very first show, Rich Henkels, where we've actually been able to, we've been doing this show for 4 years, and we actually have an opportunity now to give a scholarship away at the end of the broadcast, and I'm very excited to do so.
Yeah, you know, I have to say, too, we didn't know we were going to do this until about a month ago, a little more than a month ago, when we went to those sponsors and they said, sure. And this is, for those of you out there who are business people, this is well into a budget year, right, Joe? And so in the end, it gets down to that. These people step forward, and we're really happy to have them. So this is our first segment. We're talking about the Desdorada. So let's go straight to the student athletes. More often than not, we have experts sitting with me, but tonight we get the pleasure of just talking to you guys. So Sean Edling from Springside Chestnut Hill Academy. Sean, welcome to the program.
Yeah, thanks for having me back. I appreciate it.
Well, let me ask you a question. in your 4 years of high school, did you ever get an assignment like read the Desiderata and tell me what sticks in your head about it?
Yeah, absolutely. Got plenty of those.
You did?
Yeah.
Had you ever read this before?
No, never.
Your thoughts?
Well, it's a beautiful poem. It's a list of all the best things you have in life, and I think the first thing that sticks out to me is, therefore be peace with God wherever you conceive him to be. I mean, that's the first thing. Be at peace in the universe. You saw that, with our Super Bowl champs, the Philadelphia Eagles. I mean, they were at peace with God, and now we got a nice little trophy in our in our shelves.
So you translated that line to something that relates to your life.
Yeah, absolutely.
You're a sports fan, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Interesting. Good. All right. I like that answer. Bridget Thompson from Council Rock North. Bridget, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So at Council Rock North, did anybody ever give you an assignment like I gave you, and that email probably caught you off guard?
I wouldn't necessarily say that the email caught me off guard. I think that this is a great assignment. The issue is, especially with assignments that are given to me, especially in some of my English classes, I feel like students, my fellow students, we do things just to do them. We do assignments just to get the grade, just to get the points. But this was really a great way to kind of question the motives and the themes in this poem, to really think about them and apply them to our lives, versus just doing the assignment and reading the poem just to say that we've done it. And I really think that it made me more aware of the world around me and how I can contribute to the world around me.
And so was there one line more than any other that stuck out in your mind?
I think my favorite line
You've
for the
got
poem,
5 or 6 highlights there, Bridget.
I will say that school has definitely trained me to be a certain type of student. But
green highlights, I might point out. Not yellow, not blue, but green.
Green. I would say the line, "It is still a beautiful world," because I know that I go through the monotony of my everyday life, and I go through the routine, but I'm not really taking, as cliche as it sounds, a second to really smell the roses. As I'm saying before, I'm doing things just to do them. I'm walking by and saying hi to people in the hallway. I'm saying goodbye to my family when I leave the house. I'm doing my assignments. I'm going for a run. But I'm not really taking in the world around me. I'm not experiencing it for all that it's giving to me. And I'm not really making the most of it. And that's what I really want to try to do for the rest of my life, is to really just take a second and appreciate what is in front of me.
Well, hopefully tonight you'll have a chance to take a few seconds, because we're delving into the entire program, and not everybody's going to have that take. That's a beautiful take on that. Great. Alana Cardona from Souderton High School. Alana, how are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm great. So I remember we were on the other side of the Green Turtle when you were here last time.
Yes, we were.
Did you, during that conversation, did your mind ever go to a broader topic like we're having tonight?
Not necessarily, no. Kind of just stuck to the topic, and it didn't really, you didn't really have to do research or really read something, so it's good to do that, though.
So what did it do to you when you saw the email from me? And I'm just glad it got through, because spam is killer. But what went through your head, and what did you take away from it?
I was just really excited. This is something different, and it's something unique, and I was really excited to get into it and have a good conversation with a bunch of other people.
So what was there a line or two that stuck out more than anything else to you?
Yeah, there was a couple lines that stuck out to me, but one of them was just be yourself, and it's short, sweet, to the point, and I think it's really important, because you have to go back to that, just being yourself. There's a lot of commotion in school, work, in sports, and you just have to go back to be yourself and be true to yourself.
So define yourself then in your worlds now. You're all seniors?
Yep.
Yes.
All right, so you're moving out to the big wide world now. Define what is yourself now. Are you different now than you were 3 years ago? Do you have responsibilities to the world now? Sean?
Yeah, definitely. As a freshman, I was a lot less confident than I am now. A lot more sociable than I was freshman year. And I have a lot more responsibilities, a lot more responsibility for my family and for my own education and for the family that I'll make eventually.
All right, so you talk about family and people you know. There's a line in here that says, especially do not feign affection. Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is perennial as the grass. Do you guys find that's the case? And did you, over 4 years of high school, did you find that really is what drives you through the world or pulls you, Bridget?
Absolutely. And also, in answer to your earlier question about are we still the same people that we were 4 years ago, I definitely think that I am still the little girl that I was growing up with my brothers, playing outside, reading books, being really exposed to the world around me for the first time. And I think that you never really lose that inner child, that inner innocence. Just the way that you perceive the world around you changes as you mature, and your experiences with the real world become more and more developed. So I really think that I hope that I take this innocence that I have, and I still view the world that same way. Just losing that innocence, I really think would just be a shame.
Alana, what about you? The line, take kindly the counsel of the years, goes to the 4 years you spent at Souderton.
Yeah.
How different are you and why? And who made you different?
I think I'm completely different in a way. I'm just so much more outgoing now, and I think with sports really helped me do that. Just being a captain and having to be a leader, you really have to speak your mind, and you have to not be afraid to do what you think is right. So I think that I've changed in a positive direction, and I'm really excited to see myself grow, continue into college and everything. Just because I'm really happy with where I am and how I've grown in high school.
So all three of you, do you feel like you have a responsibility now to the world?
Yeah, absolutely.
And what is that responsibility?
To make it a better place, both health-wise and morally-wise and ethically-wise. Especially if you're put in a position like we're all going to nice colleges, whether it be for athletics or academics or whatever, and we have to improve the world through our own skill sets the best way we can.
In your experience, an easy thing to do, a hard thing to do? Is it a matter of a whole bunch of incremental changes that you as an individual can make? Alana?
It's hard to make change, it really is, but you have to be dedicated and you have to put the time in, and I think it'll pay off eventually. You have to be really motivated and dedicated to get there, but it's 100% worth it.
I think that changing the world around you and contributing to the world around you is more simple than we make it out to be. I think it's just innately human. So I wouldn't say the goal itself has really changed throughout my experience and throughout my development, but I think that the tools that I'm acquiring throughout the years, and especially going to college, you learn more about how to perceive the world around you and how to deal with the world around you. I think that as we get older, the tools that we are given change, but I think that the goal still remains the same.
So I don't think any of you find it to be a daunting task.
No.
No? You've all got parents and family and people at your school that have given you a foundation. Talk about that foundation a little, Sean.
Yeah, absolutely. So, a child is raised by a village, right? So it's never just you doing it.
I'm glad you didn't get political there.
Yeah, I know, right? But, no one can do it without somebody helping them behind their back. And it's really nice to have a great, like my dad's taking pictures right now, but it's a father like that. My mom, always pushing me to be the best person I am, right? You can't, even if you have a star player, you still need role players. Although the Cavs aren't looking too great right now, even with that. But you always need someone to push you, no matter how great you think you are.
And Bridget, let's follow up on that team concept. We got 2 minutes to the break. Your sense for where you fit in to the grand scheme. What is it now?
I'm going to be honest, I'm not exactly sure. And that scares me, but it also doesn't scare me because the world out there is somewhat of the great unknown. But I know that as I get older, I'm just going to understand it more. And I'm just going to build a life, and we'll have to see and deal with things one step at a time. But I definitely, as I was saying earlier, changing the world around you doesn't need huge, grand displays of courage or heroism. It really can just start with simple things, just the way you treat others. And just trying to bring peace and happiness into the world is not a complicated task.
And Alana, your foundation, firm as can be, you're committed to so many things. I'm going to ask you the question I haven't asked anybody else. If you could make one change in the world, in your little world, what would it be?
I think you just kind of have to start small and just, like Bridget said, just be nice to someone, and just that'll lead on, random acts of kindness to small things will just go far away. And if you just be nice to someone, it'll change their day, and they'll be nice to somebody else, and it's kind of like a chain reaction, and it'll just change everything.
So the words for you: pay it forward.
Exactly.
That works.
Absolutely.
All right.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. Sean Edling from Springside Chestnut Hill Academy, Bridget Thompson from Council Rock North, and Alana Cardona from Souderton. Tremendous job. You guys had some fun?
Thank you very much.
Yeah,
I
absolutely.
did.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for having me.
Good. Now you can sit back and listen to everybody else talk. Let's give them a big hand. Joe, we're off to a great start.
The bar has been set. Coming up as we roll into our first commercial break, we remind all of our listeners, and we thank you, of course, for tuning in to the High School Sports Show. This is the High School Sports Show, a special edition. It's our scholarship show, all presented by IBX. Our Live Fearless Student Athlete of the Year will be chosen at the very end of the program. Back in a moment.
539-0811. The Runaround.
Last one, 30 seconds.
A one-stop shop for all athletic apparel, footwear, and equipment needs.
You were on in the fall, right?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
A little bit earlier.
35 years.
You were
They carry not only
fall
name
and
brands
spring.
such
Fall
as
and
Under Armour,
spring.
Nike,
Okay.
and Adidas, but also
20 seconds.
budget-conscious options
1,
like
2,
Allison
1.
Athletic,
Can
Badger
you hear me?
Sportswear, and
And we're back to the Delaware Valley on the High School Sports Show as we come to you from the Green Turtle, a very special edition of the High School Sports Show, all presented by Independence Blue Cross. Who will be our Live Fearless Student Athlete of the Year?
That's a question we'll only know the answer to in about an hour and a half. And real quickly, let's remember that all the student athletes that are here tonight are going to be measured on 4 categories, 1 to 5 by our 3 judges, who will remain nameless through the end of the evening until the very last segment. They're going to be measured on communication skills, command of the language, that kind of thing, conversational skills, ability to listen, react, and demonstrate a keen awareness of the conversation decorum, inspiration, the ability to demonstrate positivism and optimism, and lastly, influence, ability to get people to listen, follow, and or engage. So those are your categories. We just had a very high bar set in that first segment by our 3 student athletes who are with us. So now let's move on to the second segment, and our first student with me to my left is Gage Worrell from Springford High School. Gage, welcome back.
How are you?
Now, Gage was here in the fall, so it's been a long time since you've been on this set.
Yep.
And you remember, what was the conversation? I think it was about sportsmanship, wasn't it? In your show?
Leadership.
Leadership, all right. So when you got the email from me that told you to read a poem, do some homework, what did you think?
I was actually excited. I take a poetry class as a minor, as a matter of fact, and so when I got this, I thought it's right up my alley, you know.
All right. Well, then what line or 2 from the Desperado stuck out to you most? And I got kudos, man. Lots of notes on that piece of paper.
I read the whole thing over a couple of times, and I really liked the first sentence the most because I feel like externally there's a lot of noise and things that are trying to distract you from your long-term goals, you know, especially as a senior. You know, you're thinking about graduating, you're thinking about college and where you're going to go. So there's all these things that can kind of build up in your head, and it can kind of take you away from your long-term goals or even just really enjoying the ride. So
Go ahead and read that first line.
The line is, "Go placidly amid the noise and the haste, and remember what peace there may be in silence."
And that stuck in your, that resonated.
Yeah, I felt like sometimes it can be therapeutic and better just to let go of all the distractions and things that are trying to clog your mind and just have a little bit of silence in your head for a minute.
And that perspective will suit you well in business. Take my word for it. Down the road, there's a lot of noise in the business world. All right, very well done. Jackie Calhoun from the Arts Academy at Benjamin Rust. Jackie, welcome back.
Great to be back. Thank you for having me back.
We have seen you twice and now a third time
Yes.
because you were one of our student athletes of the week. And so you get homework from me, and you probably did what? Did you go to Todd Karabi and go, geez, Todd, what's the deal?
No, actually, I read it right away because I was curious on why you would pick a poem to form a whole radio about.
Did it surprise you that I picked a poem?
A little bit, because usually like they're topics that like relate to sports, and the poem you can tie back to sports. Like there's many lines that you can connect to athletes, but it's not about that. And everything was like so focused on sports when I was on the other 2 times.
So what stuck in your head most about this poem? What line or 2?
The line, "If you compare yourself with others, you may become bitter or vain, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself." I think this is something that a lot of people, and especially athletes, get stuck at. We are so in competition with each other, and we're so focused on what everyone else does better or what we do better than anyone else, that we forget to just be ourselves and be proud of everything we do. That it was one of my biggest regrets in high school, actually. I was so worried about how everyone else was playing that I cut opportunities back because I wanted to make sure that I went the safe way, that way we won. And I didn't play my own game as well as I think I might have been able to.
So it's the line that goes to ego.
Yeah.
And ego, without it, an athlete can't survive.
Yeah.
But at the same time, your point is you've got to check it at the door sometime.
Yeah, it needs to be reined. We all need a certain ego. It comes with being an athlete that, you realize that you're up there and you have this natural ability that just makes it so great that you can step on a field and win. But it's not everything. Like in a lot of typical high schools, the jocks rule the school, but that may not be the best way to go about it.
All right. Well, in the real world, nobody rules the world.
Oh, yeah.
We all have a shot. We just got to take advantage of it. Well done. Aaron Welsh, Archbishop Wood, also from the fall. Yes. Welcome back. Did you forget about us in all that time?
No, thank you for having me.
Well, that's good. Well, and you brought your shirt and everything, so you were ready. The Desiderata, the only one from Wood that we set this to. Mm-hmm. What did you think?
I kind of thought maybe my teachers put you up to it.
Really? Oh, so somebody was suspicious that I had an ulterior motive.
A little bit.
Yeah.
No, I thought it was awesome because just reading through it, it was things that teachers, coaches, and especially my parents have been telling me throughout my whole life. And it's convenient to have it all in one poem. So thank you for sending it.
Well, you're welcome. And I'm getting great perspective from this. What line or two stuck out in your head?
Beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. And I really like this because I think it shows the balance between self-discipline and being hard on yourself and rewarding yourself. And I don't mean you get up and walk to the fridge so you can have 5 cookies. I don't mean that. I just mean...
You run to earn the 5 cookies.
Exactly. I just mean, especially for high school athletes and with schoolwork, just balancing the two. Maybe you have a test in a subject that's not your hardest, so you stay in that weekend and you study extra hard for that because you're going to earn the A on that test. And I think this is important, especially going forward to college, because the workload is going to get harder. And for those students that are going to be playing sports, time management is going to be crucial.
So balance is what you really drew from that line. Great. Matt Reuter from Holy Ghost Prep. Matt, you were the last student athlete of the week, so you slid under the tag here.
Yeah, snuck right in. Thanks for having me.
My pleasure entirely. So you didn't know we were going to throw this at you. What went through your mind? Because we had a pretty broad conversation at the show that we did at Holy Ghost Prep. What went through your mind when you saw the Desiderata in your inbox?
Well, I thought it was completely appropriate. I mean, us as high school students were asked to dissect poems, any works of literature, and I think it's a great piece because it's something that we can all relate to and something that speaks to us in our everyday lives. So it's a good piece to have.
So if it spoke to you in your everyday lives, you had trouble coming up with one or two, didn't you? 1 or 2 lines. Which one resonated most?
So the one I really liked and hit me instantly is speak your truth quietly and clearly. So in regards to that, as we're all athletes here, and so I for my lacrosse team this year, I was kind of worried that if I said my opinions and it wouldn't be accepted well by the team, I would be offending people. People that I consider my friends would be offended. But I came to realize that I need to let people know the stance I want, and you can't pretty much make everybody happy. So if you're going to say something, you might as well say what you truthfully feel. If someone wants to pick it up, that's great. If they would dismiss it, that's all right. But as long as everyone knows what you truthfully believe and you're being genuine, that's all you can ask for.
All right. Now, so am I the only one at this table, now that you've all been introduced, that noticed that nobody of the 7 people who have sat here with me have come up with the same line that resonated? Yeah. Have you noticed everybody's different?
Impressive.
Yeah.
No, it's impressive, but why is that, Jackie?
I mean, that's what's so great about the poem, that we can all find different things, because there's all different aspects of life that everyone's going to find that speaks to them. Some people struggle differently, so then that's different. And the fact that you can get like 20 students to look down at something and be like, well, that's different, and that spoke to me, and that's the main point.
Yeah. So let me ask you this. Did you want to say something, Gage?
Yeah. What I really enjoyed about the poem was that it's so comprehensive and it covers so many different points. And you were commenting earlier saying it was almost a roadmap for you for 20 plus years. So
I hate to say it, it's been 30 plus years.
Okay, 30 plus. But when I first read it, I had to just take a moment and just think about it, because it covers so many different topics and goes through so many things. But at the same time, it's all cohesive, and that's what I liked a lot about it.
So let's go to the whole concept of the wide variety of responses. Do student athletes, students in high school, do they ever have conversations about something like this or the concepts that it brings out?
I don't think we always have conversations about it. I think maybe we just show it through our actions. So I think everybody encounters different things, and that's what's great about this too. Most of us are coming from different high schools, and we're having different experiences, and I think that's important because not everybody's going to see the same things every day. So.
Yeah. But Matt, in your experience, I mean, do you ever sit around with the lacrosse guys and talk about things of this peripheral nature, but it's really deep? It's not exterior.
Oh, I think that's one of my favorite experiences with my teammates. I've constantly had just late night, just deep conversations with stuff exactly like this, like how we should go about, talking about things. What Jackie said about you should pretty much take your opportunity to do what you think you can do and follow more team route. Let the team kind of do what it needs to do instead of taking the selfish route. But I love getting a deep conversation about this with my teammates, and I think everyone on your team grows and bonds closer if you have the ability to do that.
Bridget?
Yeah, I agree because I think it's important when we have captains huddles or team meetings. I think when a smaller group of leaders on the team can sort of talk about this and talk about treating other people how you want to be treated, and then when they talk about this, their example spreads to the whole team. So.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I called you Bridget. It's
That's
Aaron.
okay.
It's Aaron. So, it sounds like you guys all agree that, if every locker room and every classroom and every class meeting had this kind of discussion, things would be a little different?
Oh,
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
For sure.
Yeah. But how do you make that happen? As you move forward, we have a minute and a half to go before the break. As you move forward in your lives, what one step can you take in order to make all those kinds of things happen?
I would say, something I've spoken about a lot is the role that technology plays in our society today. I think a lot of people are just on social media a lot, and they're looking at other people's profiles, or they're having these relationships that are almost expressly, text message.
Yep.
And so there's less face-to-face communication, and there's less real, friendships and links that are being made between people. So I think if people can put the phones down, just a little bit, then I think that people will start to make these real-life connections a little bit more, and it might draw society a little bit closer.
Jackie, I'm giving you 15 seconds before we go to the break. Jump in.
Exactly what Gage said. We need to use the technology we have for good. Speak up. Someone needs to start the conversation, and we've now sat down and done this. So use the fact that we're all withdrawn to actually bring us together.
All right, Aaron, you're going to do that next?
I think definitely leading by example and showing your peers what should be done is important. So.
All right, awesome. All right, Gage Worrell from Springford High School, Jackie Calhoun from Arts Academy of Benjamin Rush, Aaron Walsh from Archbishop Wood, and Matt Roeder from Holy Ghost Prep. Great job, you guys. Another great segment.
Thank you.
Joe, we're off and running. I'm glad I'm not a judge.
I am so glad that you are not selecting the winner tonight, because you never have ever been able to settle on just one.
All right, but let's remember one thing. And ladies and gentlemen out there, I chose every one of these kids out here. Did I do a good job or what? There you go, Joe.
You did do a good job. Let's get to the break. One more segment in hour number one. Back in a moment.
So you guys heard what they said, right?
990.com.
Pretty cool.
Hour number one of the High School Sports Show as we come to you from the Green Turtle and we say hello to the Delaware Valley. 2 segments in the books as we move into our third segment. All of our Live Fearless Student Athletes of the Week competing for our high school sports scholarship tonight, and that'll be awarded at the very end of the show. Rich, before you introduce the next 4 students that are up on the deck, for the benefit of the listening audience, if you will, just reference the dialogue, reference your dialogue and your point, just so the listening audience can stay with us throughout the broadcast.
So what we are talking tonight is about the poem Desiderata. And the Desiderata is a roadmap to life from my perspective. A doctor of mine gave it to me back in the mid-1980s when I was going through some professional struggles. And I used that to ground myself emotionally, mentally, physically, spiritually, in so many other ways that it's been my roadmap to life to this very day. And so all of our student athletes got a copy of this, and I asked them to read through it and find 1 or 2 lines in it that jump out at them and that they will be able to use to springboard them to be a better person, contribute to society, and all those kinds of things. And so far we've had an unbelievably great response by the students that have been up here. I expect nothing other than that in the next 4 students. So let's get right to it. To my left, Sam Grossi from LaSalle College High School. Sam, how long ago were you on the show? Back in March, maybe?
I think so, yeah. No,
Okay.
it was cold. It was back in February, I remember.
All right, I remember February was cold. I remember it well. So you get the Desiderata in an email from me in late May, and your head says what?
I was like, oh, another homework assignment.
Another homework assignment. So he gets points for honesty. Mm-hmm. So what stuck out? As you read it, what stuck out for you? What line or 2?
One that, I was just looking over as I read it again. It was just like, you have the right to be here. I don't know that a lot of people in sports or in school or anything like that know that. They just don't. Wherever you end up is where you belong, and that you just got to find your place.
Interesting. That's a great spin on a line. A spin I've never had on that line, actually. And you think, because some people get lost. They forget that they have the right to be who they want to be.
Yeah, in class, on a team, in sports, bide your time. You're there for a reason, and even if you don't see it at the time, it's gonna come out eventually.
And through your life, you find your reason.
Yeah.
All right, great. Abby Green, North Penn High School. Abby, how are you?
I'm doing really well. How are you?
If I was any better, I can't even think about being better at this point. This is a fun night for me. So, Desiderata, what did it mean to you when you read it?
I was in class and I was really bored, so I pulled out my phone and I read it. And
okay, there's another one with honesty. She read it during a class. Okay.
We weren't doing anything. I thought it was beautiful, and it was a nice little surprise on a bad day.
And was there a line or 2 that you read twice, 3 times, 4 times even?
I like the one that said, "Neither be cynical about love, for in the face of all aridity and disenchantment, it is as perennial as the grass."
And have you found life to be that way?
I want to be that way. I want to be that way for my teammates. I think somebody who's always showing love is somebody who's selfless. And to love others is to put them in front of you. That's what my mom always says. And if I can do that for my teammates, then I think I'm fulfilling my purpose, in a sense. Just touching the people who are around me and drawing them in and making them feel comfortable and safe and at home. That's what I want to do.
Great. And that goes beyond your teammates, because your teammates will be your coworkers, your classmates, all those other things?
Everyone I meet, I just want them to feel like I'm putting them before myself in a way. And I'm not always successful, but I wish I was. I strive to be that kind of person. My mom is really good at that. She's such a selfless person, and I have a really strong role model in her. And she always told me that's how you love others.
Great. I love that. Pay it forward. Somebody else brought that up earlier. Olivia Bennington from the Arts Academy at Benjamin Rush. I think it was February, right?
Yeah.
That you were with us?
Yes.
And so you already had your teammate, Jackie Calhoun, up here. You heard what
Yeah.
she said. What stuck out in your mind about the Desiderata?
It really, on a personal note, motivated me and helped me face difficulties that I have in life as of today. And the quote that really stood out to me that I read over and over is, "You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And whether or not it is clear to you, no doubt the universe is unfolding as it should." And it made me think, like, everyone has a destination in this world, and the most fun in this life is the journey. And nobody wants to go on a straight path. That's just boring. You're going to have turns, and that's just what makes it more fun in life, is you'll never know what turn you'll take, and you don't know what's in that path.
Sam, it's kind of what you said, too. You have a right to be here. I mean, do you guys see that there was a likeness there in your own?
Yeah, absolutely.
You explained it a little differently.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat, though, that the two, you're not a senior, are you?
I am.
You are a senior. You're a senior, too?
I'm a senior, too,
So you're
yeah.
both seniors, and you're approaching different worlds, but you share a perspective.
Yeah.
Don't you wish that everybody did?
Yeah, I really do. I really wish.
Life would be easier.
It would.
Sean Egan from LaSalle College High School. Sean, how are you?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. And you were March?
I thought it was earlier than that. I thought it was December.
Oh, was it? Was it the first semester in the fall?
I think so, yes.
All right. Well, that just shows you how bad my memory is. When you got this, I know at LaSalle you get a fair amount of homework because every kid I know from LaSalle has complained about the amount of homework. So you get a homework from a guy on a radio show and you said what to yourself?
I was kind of excited just reading through it, seeing all the good life advice that was in here. I was excited to dissect it and see what would best work for me.
Which ones worked for you?
My favorite is probably enjoy your achievements as well as your plans, because that reminds me of something that our coach says a lot of the time. You don't just want to enjoy the success that you have. You want to enjoy how you get there. And oftentimes, we had a really good cross-country season, and he said our state championship was made in the summer. It was made like when we would just do our runs on hot days in the summer. It's not made at the end of the season. It's made in the process of getting there.
You guys are all student athletes. That makes sense, doesn't it?
Yes.
Let's talk about that.
Yeah.
I mean, do student athletes or high schoolers, let's say high schoolers, not just student athletes, do you smell the roses, or are you so caught up in the busyness of life, the requirements of your life, that you don't?
I don't smell the roses. I wish I did. I feel like I get so caught up in everything that's around me, keeping my schedule tight, doing everything the best of my ability. Sometimes I forget to just enjoy what I'm doing.
I do feel like, because everyone wants to be like this perfect image, like you want to live up to the standards that everyone's viewing you as, and you forget that you're here to have fun and enjoy the moment that you have, because you'll never get it back.
Yeah. Sam?
I just think that, I don't know, some kids do get the opportunity. I mean, it depends on the year. Like, I'd say, like, that senior year, for the most part, like, the teachers lay off a little bit. Like, you have more free time during the day. Like, sometimes you have that time. I know I did, just to stop and look around and, like, enjoy where you were. But I'd say for the most part, like, that's just at LaSalle. Like, I don't know how it is for those kids in other schools that might not have as much free time and that are caught up in all that stuff. So I'd say for the majority, it's probably harder, and we don't get to stop as much as people would like.
Yeah. Sean, I want to ask you, do you feel like you need to build into your life the time and the energy to look at how good you have it?
I don't think so. I feel like I used to have to, but over the years I've gotten better at enjoying the process of getting to where I am rather than just worrying about the result.
Yeah, look around your teammates, look around your friends, look around other high schoolers. Do you think they are in your boat, or that most people do struggle with taking back some of the energy that they need to really see what's in front of them and the goodness in their lives?
Yeah, I feel like for a lot of people it's hard just because of how fast-paced the world is and how most things are about results. But I feel like personally I'm lucky enough to be able to see the process rather than just the results.
Abby, that's kind of what you said. You get caught up in the pace, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's hard to take a moment and just appreciate what's happening to you, the great opportunities that you have. Like, even tonight, I was starting to get, like, worried about what am I going to say, how am I going to sound, that I forgot to just enjoy the fact that I get to be here on this experience, you know?
Anybody feel pressure sitting here talking about this?
Yes.
Do you?
Yeah.
Olivia? Why?
Because, well, some things I did want to say, but like, when people take it, it's like, oh man, I got to think of something new. But like, some people are more confident than me. Like, I'm very nervous. Like, I just been an anxious person. But like, I do want to take a minute to like appreciate that I am here and that like not everyone gets this opportunity. And I feel like we were all honored to be here.
Well, for the record, you don't come across nervous. Did she come across nervous, anybody? I don't hear it. I don't see it. So you guys, are you all seniors?
Yes.
Yes.
All right. So do you have a duty to the world? Let me ask you that broad question. This is a roadmap to life. It gives you a lot of concepts and thought processes. And I would say that if you do these things, you're going to live a happy life. Do you have a duty to
Yes.
live up to these standards?
Yes, you want to. happiness is contagious, and you want to spread that to the world. The world can seem like an ugly place at first, but you don't know everyone's story. That's why you need to be patient and calm with some people. And when you spread yourself as being happy, then that can do so much for another person. You don't know their story either, just like they don't know yours. And that's why it's good to be a positive person and just spread the positivity to change someone's life. A smile can go a far way to someone.
I agree. Yeah. She hit the nail on the head. I mean,
don't you hate it when somebody says everything you wanted to say, Sam?
I mean, she doesn't seem nervous at all. I don't know.
Yeah.
I forget the question. Not gonna
That's
lie.
okay. What do you think, Sean?
I would say that we do have a duty to the world, but mainly just the world around us. We can't affect the whole world at one time, so we can only really affect the people around us to make it as good for them, and then they have their duty to spread that throughout, and then it ultimately would get to everybody else.
Abby?
I think our duty is always, no matter who you are, and no matter what age you are, to be kind to others, to be selfless, like I was talking about earlier, and to put the needs of others before the needs of yourself, and to just love people. I don't know. I think it's really simple. I think it's a lot of really big concepts that just kind of boil down to the same thing.
Do you really? Okay. I think there's some truth to that. Sam, would you say that kindness is going to ultimately the thing that can make the world good?
Yeah, I'd say so. And now that I know what I'm talking about, like, it's kindness and just taking every perspective that, like, you see from people and just, like, taking it into consideration, because you may think one thing, but if you see someone else do something differently, or they say something differently than you would have, you just gotta, like, sit and maybe be like, why did they do that? And don't, like, and you shouldn't come at if someone says something different to you, you should never, like, come at someone. You should always take it into account and just be kind, and, like, maybe have that conversation you guys were talking about, like, well, why? And, like, try and understand rather than just say that they're wrong.
So own your own thoughts, but at the same time, let them be influenced by better ones, or ones that make more sense to you?
Yes.
All right. I want to go back to something that Sean said about how you can affect the world. And what I think you said, I wrote down the words, bite off what you can chew.
Yeah.
We're not going to change the entire world tomorrow, but you know what? If we can make one kid, two kids be nicer to two others, or one player on our team perform a skosh better, right? Is that what it gets down to?
Yeah.
Incremental improvement, and do whatever you can?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody want to expand on that?
Well, here, I'll take it. Well, with swimming, you take what you can get, because it's so focused on dropping time. Sometimes it's just 1/100th of a second, which is so small. And I think that it's kind of like a symbol for life. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just something so small can be so impactful. It can be the difference between winning and losing. It can be the difference between having a good day and a bad day.
Olivia?
I'll
You don't want to jump in that one? No. It's a tough one. Go ahead, Sean.
Similarly with running, we often talk about a domino effect within our team at LaSalle. So we often say that if one person just tries a little bit harder and they get better, then everybody else is going to get better after them, because when they see somebody else succeed, then they also want to succeed. Yeah. So it's often just a domino effect. It just starts with one person and continues from there.
So small change. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to go off that. That made me help. But, me being a captain for my team, it made me realize, doing what I can do to be better is going to encourage my teammates to want to do better as well. Not just to live up to me, but, to make this team a better player.
Yeah. So we only have another minute or so before we get to the break. So I want to just throw this out. So real quick, one word that sticks out in your mind is one that represents what you want to be to the world. Mm-hmm. Quick.
Influential.
Powerful.
Selfless.
Nice.
All right. Sam Grossi from LaSalle College High School, Abby Green from North Penn High School, Olivia Bennington from the Arts Academy at Benjamin Rush, and Sean Egan from LaSalle College High School. We are now 1 hour into the High School Sports Show's first ever scholarship show. You're listening to News Talk 990. We'll be right back.
It's time now for the High School Sports Show with Rich Henkels and Joe Krause on News Talk 990 WNTP Philadelphia. Presented by the Philadelphia Building Trades, powered by student athletes from high schools around the Delaware Valley. The High School Sports Show. Talk, listen, and learn from the region's most influential experts, administrators, and school professionals.
You know what time it is.
It's time now for the High School Sports Show. Sports. It starts right now.
Hour number 2 of the High School Sports Show as we come to you from the Green Turtle. It is our special finale tonight. It's our Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless High School Sports Show Scholarship Show tonight. We move into hour number 2. 3 great segments in hour number 1. 2 segments to go, plus the Student Forum, which is coming up, Rich, at the bottom of the hour.
And at the end of the show, we will give one of these students a $1,000 scholarship. And I mean a check.
Checks in-house.
Written to them, signed by none other than
Joe Krause.
Absolutely. Let's give Joe Krause. He's the guy with the pen. Let's give him a hand. So
Good
this
stuff.
is a
I'm
big
going to be
one.
happy to do it for sure.
And our judgment tonight is about the perspective that they're going to bring to the table. Real quick, I want to go through the categories that our judges are judging each of these kids on. Scale of 1 to 5, 1 being, well, you know what 1 is, and 5 being exemplary. So far, we've seen a lot of exemplary tonight. The 4 categories they're being judged on: communication skills, command of the language, understanding of importance of appearance, other things like that. Conversation skills, ability to listen, react, and demonstrate a keen awareness of conversation decorum. Inspiration, the ability to demonstrate positivism and optimism, balanced with succinct thought processes and original thoughts. And lastly, influence, the ability to get people to listen, follow, and or engage. We've seen a fair amount of that already, right? I think we have. So let's bring in the next 4 students. And we have 4 different schools represented in this segment. Senna Auden from Springside Chestnut Hill Academy. Senna, welcome back.
Thank you.
Now, I got to give you a little credit here. You got a lot of notes here. You looked at the Desiderata, the roadmap of life that I've talked about. What stuck out in your mind relative to your life?
So when I originally opened your email and I saw that it was a poem, I was like, I don't want to read this, because most times in schools, like when we read poems, it's not like I can never really relate to it. I feel like I'm just reading and just annotating it just to do it. But I felt like there was a lot I could relate to.
And why is that? When you read it the first time, how many times did you stop?
A decent amount.
Yeah, because why?
There was a lot to take in, and I could really resonate with it.
All right, so what line or 2 meant the most to you?
I really like the lines, if you compare yourself with others, you may become vain and bitter, for always there will be greater and lesser persons than yourself. So you are already you, and no one knows you more than you know yourself. So in high school, we're all caught up about comparing ourselves to others and trying to be better than them, but really we need to focus on ourselves and what our goals are and how we can achieve them. And one example is for soccer, SCH was seen as like the underdogs, but instead of just like saying, oh, we can't really do this, like this school is better than us, we kind of took that in and we tried to focus on the skills that we needed to work on, and we came out and we won the championship, and we were seen as the underdogs. But
so how you saw yourself is what changed the way everyone else ended up seeing you, right?
Yes.
All right, great. Hersey Coles from Cristo Rey. Hersey, welcome. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing good.
All right, good. I remember you sitting to my left at Throwbacks a couple of months ago, and you had more energy than I did, which is not an easy task, Hersey. So you read Desiderata, and I know they push you guys at Cristo Rey pretty hard. Another homework assignment. Yes. Needed that, huh?
Yeah, but the assignment that you have gave to us, I know that I'm not like a big reader myself. I don't like reading a lot of books, but I know if you sent it to us in the email that it had purpose for the panel. So like the line that has stood out the most to me was to exercise caution in business affairs, for the world is full of trickery. That line stood out to me a lot because in the world today, it's so easy to get distracted in some of like the most simplest things. And the first thing that came to my mind was the Bible verse, and it says in Matthew, it says to be wise as a serpent, but as gentle as a dove. And so you need to be vigilant to all the things that are going on around you, but also be as harmless as the softest thing on earth, and bring unity and harmony to the situations that look as if it can be no unity and togetherness.
Well said. You're the first person to quote the Bible tonight. I got to give you credit there. That's pretty well done. Pretty well done. Ronan Egan, St. Joe's Prep. Ronan, how are you?
I'm doing well. How about you?
Great. And you were here in the other room way back in February, maybe? Middle of hockey season?
Yeah, it might have been 2017.
Might have been in the fall, huh? All right. So, and I know because my kids went to the prep, you get a lot of homework. A flaky poem sent to you by a guy who hosts a radio show. What do you think?
Well, I'm a big reader. I'm majoring in English in college, so I had no problem reading this.
Good.
But if I had to pick one line from it, it would be the third to last section that begins, "Take kindly the counsel of the years, gracefully surrendering the things of youth." And I think what stands out to me most about that is that, as high school students and high school athletes, we're not kids anymore. We are in a sense, but at the same time, we're we're given more responsibility. We're, leaders in our own sense, on the hockey team, in the classroom, on the stage, whatever it is. Especially me, I graduated Sunday, so that is that. I mean, I'm definitely surrendering things to the youth. I'm out of high school. I'm going to college now, so just thinking about that, it really relates to where we all are today.
All right, I like that. Josh Belton from Council Rock South. Josh, how you doing?
Fantastic. Happy to be here.
Good to have you here. Now we had you out at the Green Parrot.
Yes, sir.
Out in, and that was probably March, maybe February?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
All right, wasn't too long ago. And I remember that you were pretty energized by the whole week. What was our conversation about that night? Do you remember?
It was about what dedication means to you.
Dedication. How commitment makes the difference as you move forward, right?
That's right. That's right.
So I committed you to yet another homework assignment.
I mean, when I first read it, I don't play baseball, but I can recognize a curveball. So
Good.
I mean, I read it, I saw it. It was different than what we usually see in school. But I mean, I really enjoyed
now, hold on.
reading
Was it a curveball because it was different from what you get in school, or was it a curveball because you didn't expect it to come from this source?
It was both, really. It was different, honestly, than what I expected from life, really, because it's like it kind of makes you think outside the box. It makes you picture the bigger meaning of what it means to be a student athlete, and so it's like not something we think about every day. So that's what I mean in a sense as a curveball.
So what line stuck out in your mind?
It was towards the end, and it goes, "With all its sham, drudgery, and broken dreams, it is still a beautiful world. Be cheerful." And that really stuck out to me because, sure, life will always have its ups and downs, and there are always negatives everywhere, and that's just the way it is. But you have to find the positives, and you have to be happy.
Did you happen to notice that Bridget Thompson from Council Rock North had the same one?
Great minds think alike.
Isn't that funny? That
Some
two
they
kids,
teach us.
And you did not communicate that to each other, correct?
No, not even a little bit.
So you guys have all heard how many different answers to the question. Mm-hmm. Don't you find it fascinating, Senna, that everyone's come up with we've almost had entirely different responses to one piece of literature? What does that tell you about everybody?
We view things differently, but it's all in a good way. So we're realizing these things in life, and we're taking it in so we can find ways to really reflect on our own and make positive changes in the world.
Do you guys find it your responsibility to examine the world as it comes to you and make decisions based on what you see? Or do you feel like you should make decisions before you see? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead, Hersey.
I was taught at a very young age from coaches and a lot of and my parents. They had told me that life is about two things: how you prepare for what's going to happen and how you react to what actually does happen. And so I feel as though with this piece, it touches a lot on different aspects of how you can further your virtues or further your morality in life, and how those pieces can all structure you to be a better human being overall. So.
Virtues and reality. Those are two big words, aren't they? What do they mean to you?
For me, they mean virtue is kind of like it's what you have inside, and that's what you use to react and to face reality.
Yep.
And I mean, just going off of what you just said, I think it really is important that what you can plan ahead and what you can plan for, but then there's also going to be things that you can't plan for, and just reacting and just going with your gut feeling, that's also really important.
What about you, Ronan? What do you think? I mean, you've already talked about the fact that you're no longer a kid. You're an adult in the way the world looks at you.
Well, I think for, the virtues and that you learn as a kid kind of build you as you face the reality of life almost. Especially in this poem specifically, it tells you that, a lot of things are going to happen in life that, like, you may not like, you may not agree with, and whether fair or not, they just happen. But those virtues keep you grounded and keep you ready to take that next leap forward into better things.
Yeah, and Senna, have you found that to be really important in your high school career? That the foundation that you've got is really where you're always going to go, and you've got to absorb and pick and choose the things that make a difference to you?
Yes, I think that's really important, picking and choosing what is really going to help you out in life. So knowing what your goal is and finding things that can help you achieve that goal. Not what other people say, not what you don't like. Yeah.
So of all the things that you've heard the other student athletes say tonight, what stuck out in your mind? Any specific ideas, concepts? I mean, I write a lot of notes, and I think that some of the things that stick out to me, I'll give you a line, for example. Abby Green said, "Be kind."
Mm-hmm.
But what difference can you guys make in this world? Let's go around.
Sure, I'll go. Sam. I mean, just going off of be kind, I really think that smiles and laughter, it's infectious, and that's something that you start small, but then it'll hit one person, and then it's a exponential effect. It'll just keep growing, and you can really, with just a small smile or like a, "Hey, how are you?" Like, "Nice to meet you," just a little thing, you can affect a ton of people, and you can really make a big difference in the world.
Percy?
I would branch off of what he said. To be kind is the most simplest thing we can do ever as humans. Naturally, we're born to be relational beings, so it's as if just being kind and just showing love to one another will always, always, always be like the best determining factor or the best factor in your favor just overall.
Ronan, what's your take on kindness and the key to it being what the world needs to focus on more?
Well, I think that, you can't overestimate the value of just being kind to someone, being your best self, and, like any opportunity you have that you can, help people, or just, if someone's down, you give them a shoulder to lean on, stuff like that. It means the world to some people, and just kind of spreading that love around, it helps. It's a big step.
Senna, you get the last word. Is kindness the way to go?
Yes, because everyone is walking their own path with their own struggles, and a good thought, a good comment, a nice hello could really help someone through their struggles that you might not know about, and they can do the same for you.
All right. Senna Auden from Springside Chestnut Hill Academy, Percy Coles from Cristo Rey, Ronan Egan from St. Joe's Prep, and Josh Belden from Council Rock South. Great segment again, Joe, and I am completely bewildered as to how I would choose our scholarship winner.
Our judges are taking good notes. They get to figure it all out. We'll make the Live Fearless high school scholarship announcement at the very end of the broadcast. 4 students remaining. We'll do that in the next segment. And then at the bottom of the hour, Rich, not sure how you're going to do this yet, but all of the students will be engaged in your student roundtable or your student forum. All of that coming up as we roll along on the High School Sports Show from the Green Turtle. Back in a moment.
And back here live. Back here live on the High School Sports Show as we come to you from the Green Turtle. And back here live on the High School Sports Show as we come to you from the Green Turtle. Rich, last segment, 4 great students, and then we'll get to your forum.
Absolutely. This has been so much fun. I'm lucky because I'm the one who came up with the idea of the Desiderata. And again, what we're talking about tonight with our 19, it might be 20, I think it's 19 student athletes of the week, our Live Fearless student athletes of the week, are vying for a $1,000 cash scholarship tonight. And I sent them last week, I sent them all an email, and attached to it was a poem called The Desiderata. And the Desiderata is my roadmap to life, and I started the show by reading the entire thing. I will not do that again at this moment, but I will say this. This poem, while it is a poem, it is one that you will find framed and up in executives' tables and, in boardrooms. You will find it almost everywhere because it is a roadmap to life. It talks to success. It talks to happiness. It talks to good health. It talks to civility and in treating people well. So our student athletes have taken this and come up with a line or two that resonates most with them. And we've had some great answers, and I think everybody in the house is very, very quiet. Are you all quiet because this is good stuff? Am I right? Give me a hand. It's exactly what I thought. Because silence is deadly in radio, but in this particular case, I think the silence says good things are being said. So our next 4 students, Emily McNesby from Springside Chestnut Hill. Hello, Emily. How are you?
Good. How are you?
If I was any better, I'd be Joe Krause. And I'm not Joe Krause by any stretch of the imagination. So you get something from a radio guy who you met only one time, and it's homework. You need homework like a hole in the head, right?
Not necessarily.
Oh, really? You like homework, huh?
Sometimes, depending on what it is, yeah.
Okay, so in this case, how did you view this homework, and what did you get out of it?
So when I first saw that we got a poem, I was very confused. Why is a sports radio show sending us poems? But then once I looked at it, I really appreciated it because I'm one for inspirational quotes. Like as a captain, I would always send my teammates in a group chat inspirational quotes before games, and I think that this whole poem is full of inspiration when it comes to athletics, when it comes to the real world. So I really appreciated it.
So which line or two, and you've got great notes, I can see them in front of me, which one sticks out most to you?
So when it says, beyond a wholesome discipline, be gentle with yourself. You are a child of the universe, no less than the trees and the stars. You have a right to be here. And so I thought when it was saying be gentle with yourself, I think a lot of times people are really hard on themselves, rather it be in the workplace, on the field. And I think when you're so hard on yourself, you lose track of really what you're doing and you don't have as much fun anymore, and it just kind of becomes like repetition and just a schedule you're trying to fit in, and it's not something that you appreciate anymore. So I think that stuck out because I know for me, when it comes to soccer, I definitely am hard on myself, and sometimes I lose track of the goal and having fun, but I think after reading this, I'll definitely focus more on having more fun while I play.
Fair to say that what you're saying is that you have to make sure the joy doesn't get lost.
Absolutely.
All right, good. Wonderful answer. Grace DeGiovanni from Mount St. Joseph's Academy. How are you, Grace?
I'm doing good.
And just for the record, Grace showed up first tonight.
I did, yes.
Give her a hand. Yep, she showed up first tonight. So you get homework at Mount St. Joe's, I know that.
Oh, yes.
But this was different because you guys also do a lot with theology, philosophy, and those kinds of things. This probably isn't far from what you often get.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. We definitely have stuff like this at Mount, but I was a little taken back when I got it, honestly.
Because why?
Well, at the end of the email, I remember you saying that you've done this with professionals and stuff, so I was like, how's my 18-year-old self going to interpret this in a way that I've only been alive for 18 years, so I don't have as much wisdom. But there was a lot of things in here that I definitely appreciated and I can relate to.
So which line? 2, maybe?
The line that I liked the most was, as far as possible, without surrender, be on good terms with all persons. Speak your truth quietly and clearly, and listen to others, even to the dull and the ignorant. They too have their story. So I was pretty much raised with this. My parents have said this throughout my whole life. And actually hanging in my house is like a quote that says, everyone is fighting their own battle, so be kind to everybody. And this is sort of along those lines, that you have to be kind to everyone because everybody is out there, and sometimes they're struggling, but they don't show it. And that is displayed in this. And also that you want to be treated like how you would treat others. So if you're nice to people, then you want to be treated nice back. So just be kind to everybody, and everything will be okay.
So the concept of paying it forward is important to note.
Yes.
All right, great. Tony Carbino, Holy Ghost Prep. Tony, how you doing?
Good, how are you?
Any better? And I can't even get there anymore. You were another one just a couple weeks ago, right?
Yep.
All right, and so this is all fresh in your mind, the whole concept that we have here.
Yes, sir.
But the Desperado was a curveball, right?
No, I've never read it before, but when I first got it, I was like, what the heck does that mean?
Mm-hmm.
And it means, that which is to be desired. And that spoke to me. And then I read the poem, and I was like, wow, okay. First off the bat thoughts with this, when I first read it, was I've seen all this before. Like, I've been lucky to have it instilled in me at home, at school, on the track, with my coaches. And the line that I loved the most was towards the end. It says, whatever your labors and aspirations, in the noisy confusion of life, keep peace in your soul. And that was that really reached out to me because being a student athlete, I'm sure you guys can agree, life is busy. People have expectations on you. And we talked about it, Holy Ghost, with expectations. It can be tough. It can be really weighed down on you. And this quote, it reminds me that stuff gets busy, it gets tough, but as long as you are at peace with yourself, confident in yourself, always doing your best, then you're always going to be all right. Even if things don't go exactly the way you planned, there's a purpose for, your path in life. So.
And in most cases, things don't go as you planned.
Yeah.
Life throws curveballs whether you like it or not, so you're absolutely right. All right, Marco Goldberg from Springside, Chestnut Hill. Marco, how you doing?
It's great to be here.
Good. So, again, another case of homework from an unknown source, but you kind of knew me, and as I host these shows, you've seen, I'm not about scores and highlights. So did it surprise you to get something like this from us?
It did surprise me, because you're going in thinking this is a high school sports talk show, and you don't really expect homework, you don't expect poetry. But as I read it, it's actually funny. It reminded me of, you're going to think I'm crazy, but it reminded me of We Didn't Start the Fire by Billy Joel. And I say that because every sentence, you can go through, just look at any sentence and talk for it for hours and hours. Same with that song. It's all little things. You talk about each for hours. So, what's better for a sports show? You said silence is deadly. Why not have something you can talk about for an entire show?
So what line stuck out most?
I had two lines. My first was speak your truth quietly and clearly and listen to others, even the dull and ignorant. They too have their story. And my second was enjoy your achievements as well as your plans.
So do you think, this is to all of you, do you think that we enjoy our achievements enough, or that we focus on them so much that when they get there, we're wiped out? Emily?
So I think a lot of times we do enjoy them, but I also think that it's hard because what you worked all the way up to it, it's like kind of what you hope for and what you're expecting if you're like hard on yourself and wanting to achieve the best you can. So I think it's more like you celebrate it, but then you're like, I deserved this. Like you should think at the end, I really deserved this.
Take the moment?
Yeah.
All right. You agree with that, Tony?
I do, but I think that it's hard for people to take appreciation for their achievements because you don't want to be thought of as bragging, or you don't want to admit to yourself that, yeah, you did a pretty good job and you deserve this. And I think it's better to take some time and say, you did good at this. Because it's not bragging, it's just saying, appreciating. And I think today's age, we get so caught up in things that we don't take the time to appreciate things. So I think we do need to enjoy them a little bit more.
Grace?
I at least, for myself, I sometimes appreciate achievement, but sometimes it's hard because it's like you've built up, like Emily was saying, you build it all up and then you have it, and it's sort of like you're just moving on to the next achievement. You're like, what can I do more, and what can I keep doing to get better, and stuff like that.
So is that, I'm going to go to you, Marco, is that one of the plights of society right now, that you achieve something and you immediately look to the next job, the next thing you've got to accomplish? Is that something we've got to overcome as a society, do you think?
Definitely. Going back to the line, enjoy your achievements as well as your plans. You can't just jump from stop to stop. You got to enjoy the road there. You got to enjoy when you actually get there, and just take time. To me, it's like wine. You know, you don't want a cheap wine is one that's only a couple years.
You're 18 years old now. Be careful.
I don't have experience with wine. I'm just saying that the best wines are ones that are older, the ones that took the time. And I think that the true achievements that you can really have this intrinsic sense of fulfillment with are the ones that you put the most effort into.
Man?
You know, Rich, one of my favorite teachers told me that we're human beings, not human doings. I think we need to take the time to just be, because we can't get so caught up in doing. We get in that cycle of, high school year, you get caught up in all your achievements, your work, and then summer is a time to, just relax. And that same thing needs to go with in life, because you need those cycles of, high achievement, high work, and then being able to take some time and learn from it, recognize, what you did good, and adapt for what may come in the future.
Yeah.
So I think just living in the moment, living in the moment is good only in that you can't be walking around with no goals or aspirations. But then again, you can't be living in the future. You can't be so in the future that you're forgetting where you're at.
Emily, what do you think of that line? Human beings, not human doings.
I think that's really a good line, because I think, like you were saying, we kind of get caught up on a whole schedule of life, and we don't really, so you win something, then you go on to the next thing, and the next thing. It's more like you have to be what you want to be and do what you want to do, but it shouldn't be a cycle that you just feel like you have to produce and do. I think it should be something that you should want to do, and also then have a break, learn from when you lose, when you aren't winning, and then when you do win, be humbled by it and just get better with everything.
So the next segment is our student forum. Do you think we've had a good enough discussion, you four students here, do you think we've had a good enough discussion to where I could ask everyone that's been part of this what their philosophy is moving forward now?
I would, yeah.
Has everybody Grace, you think people can answer that question?
Yeah, definitely. Mm-hmm.
All right, Tony?
Yes, sir.
So you think if I give everybody 30 seconds in the next segment to give me their own personal philosophy of life, they'll be able to do it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. They better. The money's on the line.
That's a good way of looking at it. And do you think this is a good roadmap to start from?
I do.
Yeah? Any other comments on the Desdorada guys? Fun to read, wasn't it?
It was fun to read.
Yeah, thank you for it.
Yeah. Now do you see why it's made a difference in my life since the mid-'80s?
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and so, for the record, and I'll go on the line saying this, because this is the last segment before the student forum. The line that I have fallen back on thousands of times in my life is, let me find it here. Do not distress yourself with dark imaginings. Many fears are born of fatigue and loneliness. You're going to go away to college, you're going to be alone. You're going to get new jobs in strange places, you're going to be alone. You're going to get fired, not know where to turn, you're going to be alone. Your imagination will take over. Don't be afraid of it. Take ownership, take over, you'll have more fun. Does that make sense, Grace?
Yes, definitely.
Good answer. That doesn't help you win the scholarship, but it's a great answer. All right, great. So Emily McNesby from Springside Chestnut Hill, Grace DiGiovanni from Mount St. Joe's Academy, Tony Carbino from Holy Ghost Prep, and Marco Goldberg from Springside Chestnut Hill. Everyone here at the Green Turtle, has this been a great conversation?
Oh, yeah.
Joe, we are leaving no stones unturned.
And we're all presented by Independence Blue Cross, our Live Fearless Student Athlete of the Year. Coming up at the top of the hour as we roll along, also presented tonight by the Philadelphia Building Trades. We're fueled by our good friends from Dunkin' Donuts, and we're driven tonight by the Green Turtle. What a great host and a great show.
Absolutely. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And the Student Forum, again, your assignment in the next segment, you'll all get 30 seconds to give us your personal philosophy moving forward in your lives.
We'll get to a break. We'll come back with the Student Forum on News Talk 990.
Here on the High School Sports Show as we come to you on News Talk 990. It's time for our student forum, and I want to thank all of the student athletes, our Live Fearless student athletes, all of their families, all of the school officials, and everybody that came out to the Green Turtle tonight, Rich, for the first of its kind, our scholarship show tonight. And oh my, it's been a good one so far. We got a great lineup of student athletes that get one more crack at it under the student forum. And Rich, you have a lot of students and so little time to do it.
Absolutely. And let's first go to our panel, though. And I want to say thank you to Colleen Cavanaugh from Independence Blue Cross. The Live Fearless slogan has been so important to you. What did you see here tonight from these student athletes?
This was amazing. I'm really impressed by everything that they've achieved and how well-spoken they all are and how inspirational they are. It's been a pleasure.
We thank you guys for sponsoring this. It's been a great experience for us, and I know it really speaks to what Independence Blue Cross stands for, too.
Absolutely. We're celebrating our 80th year this year, so our mission is to improve the health and well-being of the people and communities we serve, and what a better way to do it than this. This is amazing.
Great. Thanks for being here. Bob Babb from PTW Institute. Bob, welcome back. You've been here with us from the beginning. It's great to see these kids, and they have evolved, have they not?
They have. You know, there's 168 hours in a week, and to see what you all have accomplished and what you were able to articulate through that poem is one of the most impressive things I've seen all year and in my decade. It's just some cool stuff to see. So congratulate yourself, and congratulate all these people doing this for you. Yeah.
Carly Myers from Carly Myers Personal Training.
Yes.
You've been to 4 or 5 shows. Everyone is different. This one really spoke to you, I imagine.
I think this was my favorite one. Going off of what Bob said, I love how seriously the athletes took this poem, and I don't think it was hard for them. I think, like a lot of people said, it really related to them, and I love how many different avenues it spoke to these athletes. I think it was really cool.
All right, and we thank Kyle Green from the Runaround for being here. Kyle, thanks for coming.
Thanks for having me.
Unbelievable. You. By the way, let's give the Runaround a hand. They provided the white shirts that every student athlete got this year. Now you see what we're doing. What do you think of this?
It's awesome. Yeah, it's great to see everyone. It's great to see. I mean, I could never have done this in high school. So this is awesome to see.
All right. So, student athletes, you know you have about, how much time we got, Joe?
30 seconds on each student, and the clock runs when you finish the question or the thought.
All right, so you all get 30 seconds, and we're going to start from the end and go to the beginning. So, Sean, you're last, all right? And you get 30 seconds to give us your philosophy of life. You just spent an hour and 40 minutes scouring through the Desderata and listening to each other. I'm not even going to come up for air. I'm going to give your name. You're going to give your 30 seconds. Our judges are going to pay attention, as are your parents. So let's go first. Actually, you know what? I'm going to let you give your names and your school. That'll keep it simple, and that'll make everybody able to listen. You don't think I should do that, Joe?
As long as they can get it done in 30 seconds.
We're going to go first. Fire away.
Marco Goldberg from SCH Academy. And I came across this while actually reading a book in English class, and it goes, God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things I can, and wisdom to know the difference. You know, life's made up of you're gonna meet problems, and you gotta know, don't worry about it if you can't change it, and if you can change it, don't worry about it because you can change it.
He goes with the serenity prayer. There's books written about the serenity prayer. Not a bad choice. I gotta give you some credit on that. All right, Tony Carbino, Holy Ghost.
Yes, sir. I would say try your best all the time. Set up goals for yourself, knock them down, fall back on people that you love, find peace with yourself, with God, and really take time to appreciate what you're doing when you're doing it while still working hard.
And I don't think everybody does appreciate what they're doing each and every day. We talked long and hard about that. Grace Giovanni from Mount St. Joe's.
The thing that truly resonated me from this whole entire night was basically be kind to everybody, because everybody's out there doing their own thing, and just it's like a ripple effect. Be nice and gracious to the people around you, and it'll spread. And that's how it starts, from a little seed, and then it'll grow.
Sounds a little bit like Pay It Forward, Carly Myers, don't you think?
Yes, I agree. And I like whoever brought up Pay It Forward earlier. That's one of the things I took away from tonight. So,
all right.
Good reference.
Emily, right? McNesby?
So tonight I took away the fact that I think everyone should try to make more of an effort to follow the unwritten rules of society. So holding doors open for people, saying please and thank you. I think if we all try to follow these rules that aren't mandatory, but if we do them, we can have a better society, nicer people, positive attitudes, and I think that would really help the society become better as a whole.
All right, Bob Babb, she says civility is the key.
Yeah, well, that lends to the last sentence, so I appreciate that. And there's no commonality in common sense, and that's what I love about what you just said.
All right, Josh Belder from Council Rock South.
Sir, I really think that positivity is key. Just staying positive, thinking positive, and acting positive will make a difference in your life, and it will leak out and make a difference in the community.
All right, Ronan Egan, St. Joe's Prep. You've had time to think about a philosophy of life. They teach philosophy at the Prep. What's yours?
Mine is that, at the end of the day, as high school students, I think we have to realize that, not to overstress or overthink anything. It's all going to work out in the end, and that we shouldn't be, too hung up or too serious about, some of the things that don't end up going our way right now.
Colleen Kavanaugh from IBX. People do take things too seriously sometimes, even in the corporate world. Doesn't that happen?
It does get pretty serious out there, so I think it's important that we support each other and hold each other up and make sure we're there for each other so we can accomplish our goals.
Percy Coles from Crystal Ray.
All right, so I acquired my philosophy from a yoga class that I had to take, and the yoga mantra has said, a distracted mind is powerless, and a distracted mind is powerless, and a directed mind is limitless. And I feel as though if you ever apply yourself to anything in life and never feel as though that you can actually succeed and do it and follow through with your steps, you will always, always, always succeed.
All right, that's grounded, Kyle. Kyle Green, you like the grounded nature of that response?
I do.
All right, Senna Auden from Springside Chestnut Hill.
I think my philosophy is remember why you are here and try to achieve your goals, and with that comes with positivity, and that can always lead to society becoming better.
All right. Sean Egan from LaSalle College High School. Sean, you got to take philosophy at LaSalle, right?
We actually don't, but my personal...
You don't?
No, we don't. But
that's why my kids went to St. Joe's Prep, I guess.
My personal philosophy would be to enjoy the process, to enjoy waking up, working hard every day, enjoy all the little things, and then when you keep working hard and enjoy all those little things and the great successes, you'll appreciate them even more when you put in all that work.
It's important to point out that while I might have seemed like a slam, it was not a slam, because this young man knew the Desiderata inside and out and addressed it very thoroughly, Sean. I'll give you credit.
Thank you very much.
All right, give him a hand. There was no cheap shot there, I promise you. All right, Olivia Bennington from the Arts Academy at Benjamin Rush.
My philosophy is to strive for happiness, because without happiness, you'll never grow as a person. And I feel that we're here for a certain amount of time, and for that time, you should just be happy and do what you love. Just enjoy every moment you have.
All right. So, Bob Babb, you're nodding your head. You're loving this, aren't you?
You know why I'm loving that is because every day you have the ability to influence just by being happy. You're going to bring the state of mind around you up because of who you are.
All right. Abby Green, North Penn.
I think my life philosophy is to not be afraid to let people change the way you think and the way you look at the world. Even tonight, I feel like the way I've seen athletics and just how I live my life has changed, I think, for the better. The most successful people are malleable to other people's critiques and their praise.
All right. Sam Grossi from LaSalle.
My philosophy's got to be everything happens for a reason, good or bad. And it's your reaction to both the good and the bad things that defines you and lets you live your life the way you want to.
All right, Matt Ruder, Holy Ghost Prep.
So my philosophy is humility is important. Your problems are no more important than someone else's. If you failed something, the world's still going to spin at 1,000 miles per hour. You're not going to affect everything. So you just have to take your failures with stride and just understand that there's more important things going on in your life.
All right, Aaron Welsh, Archbishop Wood.
My philosophy is something I've been taught through 13 years of Catholic schooling, and it's treat each other how you want to be treated, so everyone deserves to be treated with dignity and respect.
Jackie Calhoun, Arts Academy, Benjamin Rush. It is. It's a long night, so go.
After reading this, I think my life philosophy is things are going to happen. The best you can do is be the best you could be, and to try to spread that throughout the world. If everyone's their best selves, then the world is the better place it can be.
That's consistent with what you said at the very beginning of the night when you were on. All right, Gage Worrell from Springford.
My philosophy is that there's a lot of things in the external world which are out of our control, but the one thing that's 100% in our control is the human spirit and the human will. So you need to harness that and use it to act in ways that shape the world in the way that you want to see it be shaped.
All right, Alana Cardona from Souderton High School.
My philosophy is to live fearlessly and not be afraid to take chances and make mistakes because you always learn from your mistakes.
Short and sweet. I like that.
Thank you, yeah.
All right. Bridget Thompson from Council Rock North.
Hi, I would say that my philosophy about life is to make the most of the beautiful life that we have to live each and every day. Do not be afraid to dream. Do not be afraid to love. Love deeply with all that you have and with all that is in you. Appreciate what you are given each and every day and realize that you are lucky to have the life that you have to live each and every day.
Sean Edling from Springside Chestnut Hill, you get the last word.
Yeah, sure. So somebody else took my first philosophy, but my second philosophy is, don't forget where you came from and, who supported you to get to where you are, and always look back at your family and the people who supported you around you to elevate yourself.
You finish where you began in life, don't you? All right, Joe Krause.
That was a rapid-fire student forum. So quick, you have 60 seconds to converse up front here before we go to the break, and then when we come back, we'll announce the scholarship winner.
Colleen, you heard some philosophies here. Which of those would work out fine as employees of Independence Blue Cross down the road?
I think they all would. Obviously, they're very hardworking, not just in the sports that they play, but in the way that they do their schoolwork, and obviously are very accomplished. I'm amazed at how well-spoken, as I said, everyone is, and how thoughtful they were in approaching all their answers.
Kyle Green, all these kids have shirts that you guys gave out at the very beginning of the year. It's kind of rewarding, isn't it, to know that they went to some really sharp kids, a whole lot of them.
Yeah, it's nice to see when people wearing the gear, just, supporting their school or supporting whatever they're doing.
Yeah, and thanks again for that. Carly Myers, these kids, they apply the same energy to their lives as they do to working out. That's why they're successful, am I right?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, you can tell and their confidence in what they're doing, too, pours through in how well they speak and, just how confident they are in the work that they've put in during the season and how they influence others and how they look at themselves. So, yes, definitely shows.
Bob Babb, you get the last word, 15 seconds. When these kids get injured, you can tell by their spirit and their stick-to-itiveness that they probably heal pretty quick, don't they?
The people that heal the quickest are the people with the best attitudes in life. So that's all of you. Give yourself an applause for who you are, man.
Thank you very much to our panel. A tough decision ahead, Joe, and I'm glad I don't have to make it.
Me too. When we come back after our final commercial break of the 2-hour broadcast, our special broadcast, who will be the Independence Blue Cross Here on News Talk 90, the end of what has been a spectacular 2 hours here at the Green Turtle, the finale of the high school sports show, the scholarship show. And Rich, as we went into the break, you referenced that you were thrilled and happy that you did not have to be part of making that decision. You just moderated the answers into an unbelievable score sheet. Great job by you, and a great job by all of the students participating tonight.
So it's, I take a lot of notes, and all the student athletes see that, right? I take a lot of notes, and the notes really aren't about who's good or bad, it's about the great things that are said. So I want real quick to say to all the parents, all the administrators, all the coaches that are out there, these are unbelievable young men and women. Congratulations to you. Let's give them all a hand. They're sharp, they're intelligent, they're quick. They are the future, Joe.
4 minutes.
So,
till we get out of here.
So you heard our four categories, okay? They are communication skills, conversation skills, inspiration, and influence. We are very, very proud, and we're going to be able to write the check. This year's Live Fearless Student Athlete of the Year for the high school sports show, the Independence Blue Cross Live Fearless Student Athlete of the Year is Henkels from Cristo Rey. You a little bit surprised, Hersey?
Yeah, I'm very surprised, very surprised.
And why are you surprised?
There's so many amazing athletes, student athletes in the room amongst myself, and it really is like a very humbling experience for me that you guys chose me out of all the tremendous athletes in the room, so it was very...
So as the night was going on, did you hear some that just really stuck out and you went, wow, how am I ever going to beat that person?
Yes, I think the very first segment when they had all talked about very, very like big topics, and the lines that stood out to me the most a little bit, so I had to change mine a little bit, but they all had very insightful things to say, and it was just very delightful just to hear everything.
All right, Colleen Cavanaugh, your thoughts. Henkels from Cristo Rey.
Congratulations, amazing job. I'm really impressed. I wish you all the best in your future, and obviously you've accomplished great things, and only great things are ahead for you.
Bob Babb.
Percy, I had you somewhere down in the mix, and then your closing comment just blew me away. And honestly, actually, you were like top 5 or 3 to 5, and then you just blew me away. So listen, you're a great kid with a great future, and I appreciate who you are.
Carly Myers.
I'm with Bob. I mean, I loved what you said when you were up here at the table. Be wise, but be careful. You really knew your stuff. You knew the poem. You picked out what meant something to you and really put a lot into it. But up here, you were so confident with your philosophy and your closing statement. So, congratulations.
All right, and Hersey, I'm going to give you 20 seconds to address all the other student athletes here and give them your take on just how talented and smart and intelligent they are.
As you guys go on throughout life, I just want you guys to just stay positive and never give up. Like, truly just never give up, because anything is true, like, is really possible, like anything. I just started running track this year, and I'm crowned a student athlete. Anything, I promise you, if you put your mind to it, anything can happen to you.
And I imagine there's a lot of agreement in this group, right? Did you guys all have fun tonight? Go Krause.
When you can wear shoes like he's wearing tonight, great stuff.
We got to get that. Can that camera get down on that? All right, there you are.
Shoes. I absolutely love them. That's going to bring an end to what was a spectacular season of the high school sports show on News Talk 990, home of the Penn State Nittany Lions, and of course, home to the high school sports show all season long. Rich, you took a lot of notes over the last 18 weeks and the last 36 if you go back into the fall. I can give you 45 seconds to kind of reflect, recap, and share some of your thoughts as we get to the close here.
Well, you guys all, when I say to you, how you doing tonight? And you always come back and say, how are you? And I always say, if I was any better, I'd be whatever. So let me just say this. This 4 years of doing this show has been the greatest 4 years of my professional career. Now, I've won an Emmy Award, all right? So I've done some cool stuff. But this has been the funnest thing because you are the core of the future, all right? kids, high school kids who are heading out to college. You've got ideals. You've got things to reach for. Keep reaching, because it's guys like me, 57-year-olds who are into their third career, that pull from you. We are inspired by you far more than you are inspired by us. Am I right, Bob?
No question. Yeah, this is, you guys, I'm going to wake up tomorrow with a little bit more pep in my step because of you guys.
So thank you very much, Colleen Cavanaugh. One final word. Thanks again to Independence Blue Cross.
Thank you. I appreciate you having us, and congratulations to all of you. Did a fantastic job. You should all be very proud of yourselves.
Joe Krause, I couldn't be happier. You guys are awesome. And
one big great photo we're going to get as the music comes on and we roll to the end of our show and the end of the season. It's the high school sports show on News Talk 990, all presented by Independence Blue Cross and our Live Fearless Student Athletes of the Year. We are powered by the Philadelphia Building Trades. We're fueled by Dunkin' Donuts, and of course we're driven tonight by the Green Turtle.
And as we close the show, I challenge you student athletes to do one thing that you should do every moment of your life. Let's applaud your parents.
On behalf of Rich Henkels, on behalf of our partners, on behalf of all of the students, their families, and their schools, I'm Joe Krause. See you next time, everybody.